Hello dear friends, welcome back. In this video, we'll be studying endocrine glands, hypothalamus and their secreted hormones and the functions of these hormones in the body. Let's start. Hypothalamus. The location of hypothalamus is at the base of diencephalon of the forebrain. Hypothalamus is considered as a neuroendocrine structure. The hormone secretion by hypothalamus are called neurohormones. These hormones originate in the hypothalamic neurons. Once the signal is triggered, these hormones pass through axons and release from their nerve endings and reach the target cells. In this figure, once the signal is triggered, the hormones originating in the neurons, these pass through axons and release from the nerve endings and reach the target cells and regulate their functions. Hormones produced by hypothalamus reach pituitary gland through circulatory system. These hypothalamic hormones regulate the functions of anterior pituitary gland for the biosynthesis of hormones. Posterior pituitary is under direct neural regulation of the hypothalamus, meaning posterior pituitary gland do not biosynthesize or secrete any hormones. They just store and release hormones which are biosynthesized by the hypothalamus. Hormones regulate the synthesis and secretion of pituitary hormones. Hypothalamic hormones, these hormones control the pituitary gland for the biosynthesis and the secretion of hormones by these pituitary gland. Hypothalamic hormones are of two types, that is releasing hormones and inhibiting hormones. Releasing hormones are the hormones that stimulates pituitary gland for the secretion of hormones. And inhibiting hormones are the hormones that inhibit the pituitary gland for the secretion of hormones. This is a diagram of hypothalamus. Here is a posterior pituitary gland and here is an anterior pituitary gland. In case of posterior pituitary gland, these do not biosynthesize or secrete any hormones. Instead, it depends upon hypothalamus for the biosynthesis of hormone. Neurosecretory cells of hypothalamus produce ADH and oxytocin, antidiuretic hormone and oxytocin. These two hormones are biosynthesized and transported to posterior pituitary gland. Here, these hormones are stored. When the signal is triggered, these two hormones are released from the posterior pituitary gland. On the other hand, anterior pituitary gland is under regulation of hypothalamic releasing hormones or hypothalamic inhibiting hormones. The neurosecretory cells of hypothalamus secrete or produce hypothalamic releasing hormones or hypothalamic inhibiting hormones. These hormones trigger anterior pituitary gland for the biosynthesis or inhibition of tropic hormones. The tropic hormones are growth hormone, gonadotropins, thyroid-stimulating hormone, adrenocorticotropin, or prolactin. So, anterior pituitary gland is dependent upon hypothalamic hormones. Once the hypothalamic hormones trigger anterior pituitary gland, these anterior pituitary gland produce or inhibit the hormones. Here I have taken the two examples, hypothalamic releasing hormone and hypothalamic inhibiting hormone. Let's first see the hypothalamic releasing hormone, that is gonadotropin releasing hormone. We can also call gonadotropin releasing factor. This hormone stimulates anterior pituitary gland to synthesize and release of gonadotropin. This gonadotropin is a tropic hormone. Next is hypothalamic inhibiting hormone, that is somatostatin. This somatostatin inhibits the release of growth hormone from anterior pituitary gland. From this slide, we'll be discussing one by one the hormones from hypothalamus. The first hormone is thyrotropin-releasing hormone or thyrotropin-releasing factor. This is a peptide hormone. These hormones stimulates the release of thyroid-stimulating hormone and the prolactin. These two hormones are the tropic hormone that are biosynthesized and released by the anterior pituitary gland. So these hormone stimulates the release of these tropic hormones to the anterior pituitary gland. Thyrotropin-releasing hormone travels to pituitary gland via hypophyseal portal system. The second hormone is gonadotropin-releasing hormone. This hormone we have already discussed in the example. This is also called gonadotropin-releasing factor. This is also a peptide hormone. This hormone stimulates the release of follicle-stimulating hormone and luteinizing hormone by anterior pituitary gland. The third hormone is a growth hormone releasing hormone. It is a peptide hormone. This hormone stimulates the synthesis and release of growth hormone by anterior pituitary gland. Growth hormone releasing hormone release from neurosecretory nerve terminals of the hypothalamus. These growth hormone releasing hormone passed through hypothalamo-hypophyseal portal circulation to anterior pituitary gland. This is a fourth hormone from hypothalamus, growth hormone inhibiting hormone, which is somatostatin. It is a peptide hormone. It has two active forms, that is somatostatin 14, which predominates in hypothalamus, and somatostatin 28, which predominates in intestine. This is an inhibitory hormone, as somatostatin inhibits the biosynthesis of growth hormone by anterior pituitary gland. In this figure, preprosomatostatin, which is an inactive form of somatostatin, the proteolytic cleavage sites and signal peptide cleavage. These two cleavage sites, if cleaved by proteolytic enzyme, preprosomatostatin is converted to prosomatostatin. This is also an inactive precursor of somatostatin. Further cleavage forms the somatostatin 28 and further cleavage forms the somatostatin 14. These two, 28 and 14, are the two active form of somatostatin. These are the functions of somatostatin. Somatostatin inhibits release of growth hormone, which is already discussed. It also inhibits the release of thyroid stimulating hormone. It suppresses the release of gastrointestinal hormones like gastrin, secretin, and cholecystokinin. It suppresses the release of pancreatic hormones like insulin and glucagon. Suppress the exocrine secretory action of pancreas. Exocrine of pancreas secretes digestive enzymes like lipase, protease, and amylase with bicarbonate and water. It opposes the effects of growth hormone releasing hormone. The fifth hormone is corticotropin-releasing hormone, also called releasing factor. It is a polypeptide hormone. It acts as a neurotransmitter. This hormone, CRH, stimulates the secretion of ACTH from pituitary. ACTH is adrenocorticotropic hormone. Prolactin-inhibiting hormone, PIH. This is an amine hormone. This hormone inhibits the release of prolactin from anterior pituitary gland. This is the end of the video. In this video, we have discussed the hormones from hypothalamus in detail. Thank you.